Hello everyone, welcome back to a new challenge of the page Adventjs. In this case, we are in the challenge number 19, and this is gonna be a hard level challenge, so it might take us a long time to solve it. So I hope the video won't last more than 1 hour. So let's read through the instructions so we can save the more time as we can, as much time as we can, I mean. Okay, so the day to give out gifts is approaching. We need to stack the gifts we will transport on the sleigh, and for that we are going to put them in boxes. The gifts can be placed in 4 different boxes, where each box can hold weights of 1, 2, 5, and 10, represented as follows. So as you can see here, we have 4 boxes. Each one can basically support or hold different kind of weights. Let's call the weights as kilograms. So the first one can hold up to 1 kilogram or only one gift. We can also say that. The second one can hold all up to 2 items or gifts, and the third one up to 5, and the last one up to 10. So by the way, this might be a mistake because the lid is not covering the box. It seems that the box is open out, I think, or open out. But yeah, I guess that is a mistake, because if we take a look at the sample that we have here, no boxes are uncovered, let's say, with the lids that is not covering the whole box. Well, you know what I mean, right? So our mission is, upon receiving the weight of the gifts, to use the fewest boxes possible and also stack them from the less weight to more weight. So basically from the top to bottom. And we have to always align them to the left. So additionally, we need to keep in mind that when stacking them, the lower edge of the box is reused. Let me decrease a little bit the volume of the music. Well, I think that's the lowest volume I can give it. Okay. Well, as you can see here in the examples, for example, in the tier example, we have 2 boxes needed that are the necessary ones to hold or to support up to 3 gifts or to hold 3 kilograms. Why? Because our mission is to use the fewest boxes possible, and for that, for whole let's say 3 gifts, we need at least 1 box that can hold up to 2 items, and the remaining 1 box that only support up to up to 1 item. Of course, we can use the box that support up to 10, because 3 is less than 10, but our idea is to use those boxes that are how can I say, enough for the amount of item that we have. So we don't want to waste a bigger box only to hold only few items, so that's why we are using these ones. Well, I hope that is clear, my idea. So basically, yeah, we need to do this. Basically, stack all the boxes, one from another, one in below another, or one on top of another. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's jump into the code and see what we need to do. So I think the first thing we need to have is the box representation. So let's copy and paste that here in the code. Let's format it a little bit. And this is our box representation, okay? So the next things we need to have is to I don't know, have all the box sizes that we are allowed to use. So in this case, the box sizes are gonna be basically 10, 5, 2, and 1. Okay, so for that we can use this object over here. Let's use the class object and then the method keys, and let's pass that object. So this gonna return something like this: 1, 2, 5, and 10. Okay, so now we need to create another variable to store all the stacked boxes. So let's call as stacked boxes, and this gonna potentially be well, this gonna be actually an array. Okay, so now let's continue with a loop. Okay, so let's imagine, let's define the weight as, I don't know, as 35, just to give it a name, a number, I mean. And let me think what we need to do. So in this case, I think we need to have a loop, and we need to define a const that it will be the box of the boxes. So if I am not mistaken, when we use the of keyword, we are actually getting all the items, but not the indices. So let's see if I am correct. Let's figure it out later if I am correct. So let's imagine these are the indices, the items within an array. So in each iteration, we are gonna have 1, 2, 5, and 10. So those numbers are gonna be the box, the current box. Let's say current box. So as you can see here, for example, let's imagine our weight is equal to 35. So the fewest boxes that we can use are just to do a quick think, let's say, I don't know how to say that. We will need at least 3 boxes that support up to 10 items, and 1 box that support, well, the remaining amount of items or weight, that is 5. So basically we are gonna have as a result something like this and something like this, right? So let's format this a little bit, something like this and something like this. Okay, awesome. Let me see if I can format this like this, and then something like this. So this is gonna be potentially our result. Okay, so let's comment this just to have that in the code. So as you can see in this example, we need to add at least 3 boxes that support or that holds that hold up to 10 items. But we are doing an iteration over here, so we need to stay in the box size number 10 in order to keep adding boxes to the stacked boxes. So for that, I think we will need to use a while loop, and we are gonna do the following. So we need to push to the stack boxes. Let's create first a constance that could be called as box representation, and it will be equal to box, which is the size. Actually, it's gonna be box representation that the box size, the current box size. So in this case, it's not boxes, it's gonna be box sizes, and it's gonna be box size. Okay, box size. So for the box representation, we need to access to the box size, and it will print something like this, or in the case it is 10, something like this, obviously, right? So that box representation, we need to push that to the stacked boxes. Okay, so we need to do this while let me think. I think it should be while weight is greater or equal to the box size. So in the first iteration, 35 is greater than 1, and in the second one, well, it will stay in the first box size because it is this condition is met in up to, I don't know, in all the iteration, I would say. But this is not what we want. We want to print the fewest boxes possible. So for that, I think we need to reverse this string, this array, in order so the first item in this loop will be the number 10. So let's do that first. For that, we need to use the method reverse, and the result now will be 10, 5, 2, and 1. So in the first iteration, weight, which is 35, is greater or equal than 10. So if after doing this, we need to, for the weight, we need to decrease or to subtract the box size. So in the next iteration within this while, now weight is equal to 25 because we already subtracted 10, and then we do the same thing, and then we subtract 10 again. We will have now 15, which is greater than 10, and we will do the same thing, and 15 minus 10 is equal to 5. So it will this while loop will end because this condition is not met. So now that we have exited, let's say, from this while loop, it will continue with the next iteration in the above for loop. So the next element in this case will be the number 5. So weight is greater or equal than 5, yes, that condition is met. So we need to push this element over here. Okay, so now that we have that, in order to see what we are getting so far, let's return this code over here to see the output. Okay, so obviously we need to return a string, but I just wanted to see the array that we are getting so far. So we can say that we are in the right track because according to this expected result, we have one box. So that is okay because we are using the only one box. So that is perfect. In the second one, we have a box that can hold up to 2 elements, and we have the same thing over here. So we are okay. And in the second one, we have 2 stacked boxes, and it basically it is okay, but it is in the other way around, let's say. So we need to reverse this array in order to have, let's say, the same result. So for that, I think instead of pushing the items, we need to unshift them. So every new element is gonna be pushed to the beginning of the array. So let's see now what we have. Okay, so in this case, I think we are doing a really good job. So now, as you can see here, we need to flat the array and then join that array in order to convert it into a string. Okay, so okay, let's try to think. Let me use this example in order to know what we have so far, which is something like this. Okay, and let's use another 4, and in this case it's gonna be let me see, we need to iterate this array. Okay, so let's use a 4, which is a normal for loop, let's say. So we need to declare or define our index variable and initialize it as 0, and we need to increment its value as long as the index is less than the box, let me see, the stacked boxes, that length. Okay, awesome. Now here we need to let's store the current box. So the current box will be the stacked boxes that index. Okay, yeah, so let me try to think what we are getting so far. Okay, okay, let me see the instructions. So basically, as it says, we need to, let me see, the lower edge of the box is reused. So we need to check the lower edge of each box and modify it. So for that, I think I need to get actually the next box, and the next box will be a stacked boxes that index +1. And if that is undefined, we are gonna return an empty array, I think. And then we need to let's say we need to have the delete of the next box, so we can know what characters we need to fill the remaining space of it, you know. So for example, if you take a look at this example over here, this is the lower case, the lower edge of the first box, and this piece of code of characters is the belongs to the elite of the next one, of the next box, which is under the current one. So we need to get the lead of the next box in order to have in order to edit the lower edge of the current box. You know what I mean? Well, let's see if I am correct. So let's get the lead of next box, and it will be equal to basically the next box that 0, or if that is undefined, we are defining it as an empty string. Now we need to use another const, because we need to replace the lead of the next box. Let's imagine this is, well, let's imagine no, this is the lead of the next box, but it is also the lower edge of the current box. So we need to replace the lead of the next box with the current with the lower edge of the current one. This is like a tongue twister for me, but let's see if you can understand what I mean. So let's get lower edge of the current box is gonna be equal to let's create here, for example, current box. It will be equal basically to this, but instead of index +1, it's just index, and we don't need to add the OR operator, because this is safe to do, because we are under the condition of the loop. So the current box, so the stacked boxes is an array of array. Okay, so the current box is basically this element, and for this element we need to access to the lower, well, this is something like this. I have edited that before, but I forgot to to leave it as it was. Okay, so this is the lower edge of the current box. So to access to this part of the code, we need to access to the first element of this array, which is, well, in this case, in the first iteration is gonna be index equal to 0, so it is the first element. Now we need to access to the last index of this array in order to have the lower edge of that box. So for that, we need to access to current box, and then current box that length -1, because the length of this array is 2 and -1 is 1, and we are accessing to the index number 1 in this case. So now that we have that information, let's copy this code. It will be something equal to this, and this will be something like this. Okay, so now if the lid of the next box is valid or it does exist, we need to replace in the, let me think. Let me create another variable. Let's call it of as final stacked boxes, so we don't modify this array. So let's copy that, and I think we can use an structure clone to safely copy or clone that array, if I am not mistaken. Let's see. It should be stacked boxes. Stacked boxes. Okay. So it will be final stat boxes. Well, this is gonna be stacked boxes, so we keep the real amount of elements, so we don't affect the loop while we are editing it, you know. Yeah, so in the final stat boxes we need to, let me think. In the final stat boxes, we need to modify the lower edge of the current box. So we need to access to the index, and this is gonna be, for example, something like this. Okay, let's call it as, or let's do a multi-line comment. And then from that, we need to access basically to this. Okay. Now, if that is valid, we need to, now that we have access to these elements, now we are having something. Well, that's okay. This is basically what we have. But then now we are accessing to the last index. We are gonna have as a result so far this. Okay, so we are gonna edit this string in order to be basically itself plus I think instead of storing this variable, we need to have the length of the lower edge current box. Okay, so it will be something like this. Current box. Let's use an optional chaining just in case, and then that length. So if this is valid, let's say, or if it is exists or it is not 0, from that we need to concatenate to this string, which is this, the remain characters of the lid of the next box. So for that, we are gonna use this, that will be the an string, and we need to use the substring, and we need to let's say cut the string from the, I think it should be from the length of the lower edge current box. So hopefully we will have something like this. So if we have here 1, 2, 3 elements, so we need to, let me copy this. 1, 2, 3. We wanna have something like this, and we are concatenating this part, this remaining part of the lead. Okay, so well, let's do that. So yeah, so let me see what we are getting so far with the final stacked boxes. Let's return that and let's see in the test what we have. Okay, a structure clone is not defined, so well, I don't know, let's use just the stacked boxes. So let's forget about that variable. Let's see now. Box index is not defined where okay, it should be index. Let's see now. Okay. Okay, so we are in the right track, but now we need to remove the whole lead of the next box, because we need to replace that with the lower edge of the last we need to replace the lead of the next box with the lower edge of the current box. So for that, well, in this case we are, let's say modifying the lower edge of the current box. Now remove the lid of the next box. So to remove the lid of the next box, basically we need to use to access to the next box, which is basically the same syntax or the same code as here. So let's copy this, and this will be equal to its value, but a slice from the index 1. So the index 1 is basically this. So this is the index 0, this is the index 1. So hopefully the array will be only one. The resultant array will be an array of array, and the second array we will have only one item, which is the lower edge of that box. So let's see if I am correct. So okay, this is looking really good. Now what we need to do is to flat that array, and then we need to join that with a line break. So let's create another const, which is a stack boxes string, I don't know, or result, and it will be equal to stacked boxes that flat and that join, and we need to join that with a line break. So let's see now what we get. It is not working. but I don't understand why, because it looks like to be the same. So let me copy this, for example, here and here. Let's see. That's weird. Okay, let me zoom it a little bit. It seems we need to get rid of this empty space over here, because in this case it doesn't have that space. For here we have, well, that's weird. It seems we need to remove the remaining space on all the lower edges of all the boxes. Let me see if we have another example. For example, over here, let's see if we don't have any extra space, but here we do have an extra space. So, and I think they told us that in the instructions. Let me see. Okay, I think it's this note over here. Be careful with the white spaces. Do not add white space to the right of the box unless necessary. Okay, so we need, I think we just need to trim it, right? So yeah. Let me see if this is enough. Okay, your code has errors. Okay, because I need to remove this. Let's see now. Awesome, we did it. So yeah, basically the error was the white space that we had at the right of the lower edges of all the boxes. So as you can see, we did it, and surprisingly it didn't take us more than 1 hour, so I am happy for that. Obviously this code can be improved. Maybe we can do everything in one loop, or maybe here. Maybe we can do that here, but yeah, it could be really hard to try to do it, or maybe not, but it will take us too long to do it. So I don't want you to be here for many minutes, for a lot of minutes. So thank you for watching me, and I see you in the next challenge of the Adventjs.dev page. So see you. Thank you.